What's up, my friends? How's it going? It's Carpo here. I got my cup of coffee and my vape, and I'm just coming out to make a video here. I started one earlier and just kind of like gave up on it. And as I was walking around the house, I started thinking, I have so many different things that I want to talk about. And often the paradox of choice is what causes me to not make a video at all. Sometimes when something's really moving me and I'm researching something, then it's easy, the subject is there at hand and I think, hey, this is amazing, something I discovered or whatnot. And mainly sharing ideas. I really don't consider myself a teacher. I consider myself a individual who shares ideas with people, and if they benefit that person, so be it. But I feel like many of the people out there who claim to be teachers, they're not willing to accept any education from others around them, and that's why I don't associate myself as telling you, hey, this is what life's all about, or this is what you should be doing, because everybody's so different. I mean, we're vastly different people, as much as our skin's on the outside, and the emotion we display and everything seems similar. But there are certain things that we all do share, like emotion and a yearning and the desire to work hard for things, to have great things in our lives. And I don't mean great things like material, but we had to have great lives and great experiences. And so many things have happened in the last week that I wanted to talk about. I wanted to make a video the other day about Cornell. When he died, it just actually caught me really off guard. I was not a big fan of Soundgarden. I mean, I used to listen to him all the time, but I never went to a concert or anything. It's not like I really followed Cornell's work. But when I found out he died, and it just kind of like, it really hit me. And, it made me cry. And then the next morning when I woke up and read the next article about how, he had been taking Ativan, which, anxiolytics or anti-anxiety medication can cause actually more suicidal thoughts in people. But I don't want to get into that because I know a lot of people out there probably don't even care and aren't, maybe you're not even familiar with what happened, but I'm sure most people by now are aware. But it was interesting because the same day, Roger Ailes died, who was like the founder of Fox News, who was considered a shitbag by a lot of people. Pardon my language, but he was really not a very well-liked person by those, especially those on the left. But it was interesting because of the difference in how, those things were approached. Like how it just didn't even faze me that he died, It's like, well, maybe it's better for the world, and that's a harsh thing to say. And I started thinking about that, like how we talk about to respect the dead and never talk bad about a person who's died, And I thought about it and I thought, well, we always do that. If bad people, lots of bad people, many infamous people out there who we dislike through history. It seems like the further we get away from when they died, the easier it is to talk about it, I don't know. But life and death are one of those things that people wrestle with, and everybody, I guess, wrestles with. So in between thinking about, how we feel about life and death and being inundated with, people killing themselves and people dying unwillingly as well, such as what happened yesterday in Manchester, and I don't even want to talk about that because that was just a disgusting attack on children, on kids coming out of that concert, and I'm sure everybody's aware of that one now. It really, some of these things are just so irritating. Like how can you as a human being go and harm children for any religion or any cause? It absolutely is disgusting to me. But it's nothing new. It's something that's being used by even some of the most, what you might call respectable countries who are bombing hospitals and places of worship, knowing damn well that there's children there, but bombing people in general is just disgusting, of course. But I don't want to lead this conversation in that direction. I just wanted to get that off my chest because, the last week, it's been an interesting week. It's like people are just overwhelmed with a lot of what's going on in the world in many regards, and it's been that way for a while. The internet just kind of puts it in our face every time something happens, political or otherwise. Everybody's exposed to it, and it's hard to look, rubbernecking, it's hard to look away. It's like when you see something that's just so horrific, it's hard to look away. It's like you have to just, what is going on here? You know what I mean? But we need to escape it too, and we need to find things in our lives to look forward to, and things that we can't sit and dwell on all the bad things, and not just in the world, but in our own lives. A lot of people play the pity game and play the victim card, and I know that often that's caused by childhood trauma and whatnot, but at a point it becomes a little preposterous when people talk about all their problems and this happened to them and that happened to them, when they're just basic things that happen to people all the time, when there's always could be worse attitude. But it's hard for me to find a place where I feel like I really fit in when I have conversations about these things, because I can be very brutally honest, and that's not always the best approach, but I'm very honest with how I feel about things, and if I don't feel sad about something, I'm not going to pretend that I do. And if I am, and this is another one, this is one that I've really lately started to understand more, like if I am angry about something, or I am frustrated, there's nothing wrong with that either. It's not something that you need to try to diminish in our lives to eliminate these extreme emotions. I mean, if you're crying all the time, then that could be a problem. If you're hateful and violent all the time and you're angry, then that's a problem as well. But just those feelings that arise in situations that we try to diminish, I don't know, it's being honest with ourselves and our emotions and who we are is not a very easy thing once we really start to analyze who we are. And finding a community of people who can understand brutal honesty is difficult, but that's exactly what I found in Burning Man, or the regional. Today is Tuesday, so tomorrow, the day after tomorrow, on Thursday morning, we're leaving early to go to Soak, which is the regional Burning Man here in Oregon. And I'm looking really forward to it, but I'm a little bit anxious too. And it's good. It's a good anxiety, but it's just because it's going to be. It's a weekend I really look forward to every year. And I was trying to explain to somebody why I feel so comfortable in the atmosphere of people who are extremely eccentric, but more than that, some people are, let's just say, overly ambitious about, say, going naked, for example, and that's their thing. They want to walk around naked, so be it. There's nothing wrong with that. But a lot of people take offense to that. If they go to an event and they see people naked, it makes them uncomfortable, especially if it's a guy seeing guys. Oh no, I'm not gay. If you get over that and you can just see people for people and not judge others by what they're wearing or not wearing. People have some pretty extreme costumes, and there are a lot of different types of people, but what really gets me is that everyone has something to contribute to a conversation. They're very, very interesting, artistic people. You can be sitting around a campfire with like 10 different people, all with different interests. One guy may be a CEO, and another guy might just be a dump truck driver. There's a million different jobs we all have in our normal lives. Then we come together, and you can see these people on the road and might not even know, we just pass each other by and don't really know what each other's values are until we come together in a group. And this is why, for example, in a religious setting, people go to church. And so Soak is like my church, and going there to kind of find myself again. But that's just the beginning of a summer that's going to be phenomenal, and all these different experiences I'm hoping, to really embrace them to their fullest, I guess. Because our time here, I'm not going to say it's short, because short would assume a perspective. I think the time here on this earth as humans is just about right, there's only so much you can do in the time that you're allotted. I feel like if we lived for 1,000 years, we'd be more likely to slack for the first 100 and just say, oh, well, I got lots of time left. And kind of miss out on some of the growth. But ultimately, I realized that life is totally subjective. My opinion of how people should be or could be or what the world could look like, I realize those are all my views. I'm not an idealist. I have been in the past. I still, from time to time, have these ideas about how the world could be, and I realize that in a couple generations, people could move past their judgments and criticisms and hatred. But I also see that it's part of human nature, and it's going to be difficult to extinguish that. That there's always a loose cannon, or, somebody out there who wants to take advantage. And so all these systems that we have in place, they're all illusions, but they're all there because we feel the need to protect ourselves against each other. Something I was reading the other day about laws, and it was saying that laws are set up to protect humans from other humans. And there are really no laws that you can, set for nature. You can't send nature to prison. You can't burn down the forest because you're mad at it. You can. People do, I'm sure, but we're basically annihilating the planet anyway. But it will return. Like, we feel like humans have so much more, I don't know. Understanding one another is not an easy thing to do, I guess. And knowing that everyone's perspective is totally different, and that we just come together on certain points. It's like at a certain point in my life, I started to see things in metaphoric relations. Instead of seeing them as ideas or words or this is what may happen down the line, it's more like, okay, I see that a human's doing this and this is the result. That's the same thing that happens when, there's a planetary explosion or a supernova or something that happens within the atomic structure, or how atoms fit together and why molecules form the way they do, and what type of frequency, vibration, energy brings matter together the way that it comes together. What kind of laws define nature? Nature is just what it is, We're not separate from it, so we can't define it. And it's the same as studying consciousness. You can't study consciousness very well because the conscious observer is always part of the experiment. So the best we can do is I guess what I'm saying here, even though it's a long ramble here, sometimes it's best to stop trying to figure out the deeper details of things, such as where we came from, where we're going, which system of belief is the best, on and on and on. I think that it's just important for us to just take it day to day. Really learn to live in the now and take it moment by moment. And I don't really know what else to say about that. It's so hard to explain, because you can't just live in the moment, and you can't never think about the future or the past. That's how we grow. It's a matter of learning to integrate those in ways that you can benefit from. So, to each his own. I hope all of you are doing fantastic and find your truth and solace and whatnot. And yeah, I'll probably be uploading another video before I leave or two, but when I get back next Monday, I'll probably make like a little edited video of my trip like I did last year. And it's like, we'll see. Maybe if I have the patience to organize it. Talk to y'all later. Have a great day.